You see this behind me? That's an old fireplace that used to keep this house warm. It's since been bricked over, and I want to see what's back there. Let's get a better look. Oh yeah, here it is. Behold. Now from back there, you're probably saying, what fireplace? There's no fireplace here. But I think that there used to be one. You can see this line here coming along, going over there. This used to be the base of the fireplace, and this used to be brick so that your wood floor doesn't burn when you have a raging fire. Now, I really don't know if it comes across on camera, but there's a very subtle indent. So I'm pretty sure they just bricked this up and plastered over it. In other places in the house, there was just drywall over the fireplace opening. They made it a little bit harder for me here. I'll be honest, one of the main reasons I want to do this is just because I want to see it. I want to see what's back there. I have this gnawing curiosity, but there's also a practical reason. I'm gonna have my TV mounted on this wall, and I'm gonna need some type of conduit to run my power cord, HDMI, and I'm just thinking it'll be easier if I have this big fireplace cavity and a clear chimney to just drill through one course of brick and get over to my cabinet. Another important point, this fireplace can never be active again because I took the chimney out of the top of the roof. I did that just because it was prone to leaks and I didn't need a functional fireplace. Some people are mad at me for that, but you know, we got modern systems. We don't need to burn wood anymore, right? Before I go too far here, I wanted to get eyes on the inside of this fireplace. You can tell by how much dust is coming out that the fireplace is filled with dust and debris. The past couple weeks I've been doing all this dusty work, exposing brick and sanding down beams, and dust is brutal. And I know if I don't do this now, I'll probably never see the inside of this fireplace, and I just couldn't live with that. Let's see if we can get eyes on the inside here, see what's going on. It feels pretty packed. I learned at least that it's not full to the brim. Guess we gotta take out more bricks, keep looking. So this is the old flue I was expecting to see. And when we removed the old furnace, this was just entirely full of dust. It wasn't venting at all, which is super scary because you gotta get bad fumes out, and it's just buried. Well, I did this and then just kind of spent the past like hour and a half just looking at it, trying to figure out what to do with it. My thought right now is maybe just to use an angle grinder to cut out kind of a uniform opening in this plaster up here. Created a lot of work for myself. I wasn't expecting such a big hole. I was thinking that flue just went through a little, 4-inch diameter hole in the brick at the bottom, when in reality, there's just kind of no brick at the bottom. So I'm gonna have to fill this with brick essentially, and I'll also have to cap the top here just so more rubble and stuff doesn't fall and to create a fire break there. It's funny to create a fire break inside of a chimney, but when it's not functional, you need to do that. Having a decorative fireplace, like, I think it's cool to bring back the history. I think it's nice to just put some candles in here, you know, kind of a vibe. But anyway, let's clean this up, try to make it look presentable, see what we can do. Well, I don't know. It's looking a little bit weird with just the brick up here showing. I am considering extending this and having kind of a border of brick and then the plaster. Tricky, tricky, tricky. Okay, I've had a minute to think about the fireplace, and I did what I do best. I went home, played around in my 3D modeling program just to explore these options. I'd love to know what you prefer. I'm between two, one more historic and one more modern. So when I made this decision to box out over there, it's because there's an HVAC duct running up, and I connected the two so that this reads as like one mass, and I'll paint it the same color. And I made that decision before thinking about exposing this fireplace. So I'm not sure if that looks weird to you, like rather than just having this standalone fireplace bump out here. So the plan, if we keep the fireplace, is a little media cabinet right here. And then I drill through the side up and then mount the TV above the fireplace, have the cables come through. That should work fine. Also, I do really like the idea of custom fabricating like an Art Deco inspired fireplace surround. I think that's a really fun project and maybe a perk to keep it open. All right, so the option where we don't expose the fireplace, I'm imagining like a low console, maybe only like 6 inches from the wall, that is like a hidden cabinet that takes advantage of this space, but then it's closed off up above. TV sitting on that console, it makes wires a lot easier, and then that console just runs all the way along and tucks in there for a little display area. The fireplace situation, it's a little tricky. I don't love the look of a big TV above a fireplace, and I made decisions not considering that fireplace, so let me know what you think. This is a fireplace we previously exposed directly above that one we were just working on, and I left it pretty gnarly around the edges on each sides and up at the ceiling, so I had a lot of drywall and mudding and patching to do, which I don't have a ton of experience with, but after many layers, I think I was able to get it pretty clean. This type of drywall work can be pretty dusty because you have to apply mud and then sand it down, apply mud, sand it down to create somewhat of a smooth finish. And I severely underestimated just the time to do this because you have to let it dry between each coat, and I'm always finding more little imperfections to fix. In addition to a lot of drywall, mudding, and patching smaller cracks and nail holes, I'm also mixing up some lime-based plaster. I use a 2.5 sand to 1 part lime mix, and this is used to patch these larger sections where plaster has become detached. The one defect of this beautiful brick fireplace on the second floor is of course this hole, and I believe this was retrofitted later as a wood-burning stove with a flue that came up and vented into the chimney. For whatever reason, the inspector didn't like this hole, so I'm going to fill it with bricks. I figured it's probably a good time to finally get rid of this carpet. I kept it to protect the stairs, you know, moving materials and whatever. But now it's gonna make some dust, and because I'm cleaning everything, I want to get that dusty part out of the way. After a little bit of reflection, I can confidently say that pulling staples out of stairs is the worst task I have done to date. Now, don't get me wrong, there's much physically harder or dirtier jobs that I've done, but it's all about the time invested versus the difference made, and after many hours pulling staples, the stairs basically look the same. It sucks. Oh my goodness, I've been at this for like, how long has it been? Oh my goodness. It's been 3 hours. And I took the staples out in like 3 steps. I've done a lot of staple removing. This whole house was carpeted when I bought it, but it never gets easier. And it never seems to get quicker. Even to see where the staple is, to be able to get under it, you need to like yank out all the carpet residue. Yeah, not fun. I swear, for the past month, I've been saying that I'm going to paint next week, but maybe it will be next week. So I'm nearly done with like spackling. There was just a lot of little things to prep before we can actually paint. I'm almost done, but it's kind of tedious. It takes a lot of time because you have to wait for it to dry, do another layer, wait for it to dry, so on and so forth. But I'm just going to get started on the deep clean that I've been talking about. So before we paint and before I seal all of the brickwork and clean all of the brickwork, I want to get rid of all the dust just so that dust doesn't get back up onto the wall, and I need to get rid of the dust for painting anyway. So we're going to start up on the 3rd floor, work our way down. Step number 1, we got to get all this stuff out of here. Step number 2, we're going to sweep. And I heard all your comments about dust. I've got filters for a better respirator in the mail coming. So I'm just gonna open all the windows. We'll put a fan up in the window, keep the dust at a minimum. I'm gonna use this wet mop. It's just a Swiffer and a microfiber cloth to just lightly dust all the walls, giving it a little bit of moisture, not getting the drywall wet, but having it moist helps just pick up that dust. And this is both to get rid of like the spackle dust, but also there's a whole lot of brick dust on the walls as well. Next step, we're gonna vacuum everything. It is about 7:30 on a Friday night. That means it's the end of the week. And finally have the proper respirator. I've had this, I just needed new filters. And a couple episodes ago, I got a ton of comments about the dust and the N95 was not enough. And you guys are totally right. It was stupid to not use a proper respirator. Having at least the first floor very thoroughly vacuumed and the other floors mostly vacuumed. Just great for peace of mind. The dust has been driving me crazy. Just in general, it was kind of a tough week, not because of the work, although the staple work, that sucks. That always ruins a week. But it was just a couple of things. One, I had a lot of responsibilities outside of the house, so I couldn't put as many hours into it. You know, I'm doing this tedious mudding and taping work, which I've never really done before and I'm not really good at. So that's just frustrating. It's far from perfect. The places where I'm doing it is mostly the old plaster walls, which are already quite imperfect to begin with. So that, I don't know, makes it kind of okay. It's like, it's an old wall, it has history, it has character. I'm fine if you can see some paint chips and whatever behind the new coat of paint. Then the other thing that made it challenging, mostly just today, it was kind of brutal because I was looking so closely at things. You know, I vacuumed every square inch of the floor here on the first floor and just looking at it up close, it's pretty gnarly. You know, there's a lot of gaps. I'm really not sure how it's gonna sand out. There's a lot of prep work. So that worries me. And then also cleaning off the drywall. You know, I really just made a mess of it. The grinder flew things at the drywall, so there's plenty of little dings. Looking closely at things, it's like you see all the imperfections and you see the daunting amount of work. But you know, there are good weeks, there are bad weeks, and the biggest thing is just to keep working at it. Progress is super slow. It's been just me working here for like the past month. There hasn't really been a crew. So yeah, challenging. But as always, thanks for watching, and I'll be right back here next week.